Hello, Facebook Live. Marcus here. What's happening, everybody? Wanted to talk about the proper way to swirl a wine glass. You know how people swirl wine glasses and the proper way to hold a wine glass. So I'm going to take a couple minutes and do that today. People are always fascinated by the proper wine glass, the proper swirl. So super important whether it's white or red. Now, a wine glass is designed to not be filled up to the top. That's why when you come to Aroma Time at a lot of restaurants, they won't fill it up to the top. Cody, can you grab me one of the smaller glasses, like the tequila glass? The little, yeah, perfect. Folks, this right here is a 6-ounce glass. If you fill the one glass, typically a standard glass in the restaurant industry is 6 ounces. So if you were to fill this up, that would go all the way to the top right there, okay? So I'm going to do a little experiment here. All the way up to the top is like, this is what would actually come out to the table, something that comes up to here. Now, in a glass that small, it's hard to swirl, and it's hard to get your nose there, and it's hard to get the aromas. So the proper pour is, and that's even a little high. So that glass is about a 9-ounce, maybe an 8-ounce glass. So you really want to put in these glasses right up until about the arch peaks is 6 ounces. So right about there. Now, the proper way to hold this glass once wine is in it or before wine's in it. So wine, unless you want wine to warm up, you would not hold wine like this. This is the wrong way to hold wine. Now, sometimes you will get a white wine that's a little too cold and hasn't quite opened up yet, the flavors, the bouquet, because it's too cold. So at that point, you would want to hold the glass like this. And folks, this is why a brandy snifter. Cody, can you hand me a brandy snifter when you get a chance? We'll do a little demo of a brandy snifter. So a brandy snifter is known to warm up the cognac or the brandy or cognac snifter to actually warm up what's inside of it. So that's why you would cup a brandy snifter or a cognac snifter like this. So if you grab the wine like this, folks, you will start warming it up. Now, if it's too cold of a white, that's a perfectly fine thing. But if you don't want it to warm up, then don't grab it like that. Don't grab the glass like this. This is wrong as well. It's not a basketball or a football. It is a wine glass. So the glass should be grabbed by the stem. That's why the glass has a stem. Sometimes you can grab the glass on the bottom by the stem. This is the way I prefer to grab it. So a lot of times when you see me drinking a glass of wine, you will see that I have the glass just like this, and I'm holding it just like this. This is a very common or proper way as well to hold the glass. So the stem or there. Now to swirl the glass, there's an art of swirling the glass. When you swirl the glass, you incorporate oxygen into the wine. When you incorporate air into the wine, it opens up the flavors. So there is a way to actually see a lot of people that will swirl their wine. Now, this doesn't work with every wine specifically. You wouldn't want to buy a cheap bottle of wine that's been open for a day and start swirling away thinking you're going to improve the flavors. But typically, if you were to just open a bottle of wine, a nice, decent bottle of wine, so the principle works in general because you're incorporating air in. But the more complex the wine is, the more air can get into it, the more flavors you're going to actually develop in there. So you want to swirl the wine around. Now, this can be done but in your hand. You can be swirling it. Or it can be done on the counter. So you can swirl on the counter. You can just adjust the camera there where you can see what's happening. So here you can swirl as well. Now the idea was this is the proper way to swirl, or this is the proper way to swirl. All right. You do not want to swirl like this, where you're moving the whole glass. There's no action in the wine. Okay, you can probably see that there's no action in the wine. You want a vigorous swirling action that produces that. Now, here's my tip if you want to learn how to do this effectively, because a lot of people, it's all in the arm movement and the shoulder movement, or actually the lack of the arm or shoulder movement. So if you look at my arm and you start swirling away, like that's not that effective. What I like to do is when I show people this in person, I like to brace the bottom of their hand and then show them that it's all in the wrist now. See, my shoulder's not moving in there. It's all in the wrist is all where the action is. If I'm moving my shoulder, I can't get as enough of a swirl. So brace the bottom of your hand, bottom of your wrist right there, or you can even grab your wrist and just, that's where the movement happens. It happens in your wrist. My shoulder's standing still. If the glass of wine is on the counter, again, see, my shoulder's not moving. All the movement is happening down in here. So there's no reason to move like this because that's, again, not doing anything. So if you're holding it in the air, again, brace the bottom of your hand and swirl away like that, practice like that. So that'll get a nice swirl in there, incorporate the oxygen, open it up, and prepare yourself for an amazing glass of wine. So that's just our little tip, my little tip here on wine and how to properly swirl the glass and how to properly fill the glass. So again, if the glass has this nice gap in here, you can get your nose in there, you get the aromas, and of course, after you swirl every time is the best time to sniff and explore the nose, the bouquet of the wine, because that's when the most flavors are vibrant. All right, folks. Everybody wants to know this is a Primitivo. This is Primitivo from southern Italy. The name of the vineyard is Botramagno. Botramagno. They're from Apulia. This is Primitivo. Primitivo, also known as Zinfandel. A lot of people say that this is the original Zinfandel. Came out of Italy, southern Italy. This, by the way, folks, is one of the vineyards that we're going to next year. A little brief history on this vineyard. In 1990, 89, 1990, 1991, this was a co-op. Botramagno was a co-op in Apulia. A lot of vineyards in Apulia in southern Italy were co-ops. They just didn't have the economy to make their own wine. They were either co-ops or they shipped all the grapes up north and made bulk wine, or they blended up north. So Botramagno, they called the local attorney in town, Benamino, and they called Benamino, and they were in financial trouble, and they wanted him to restructure the organization, maybe do a bankruptcy, do whatever. See what they wanted to explore what their options were. And Benamino looked at the vineyard and said, "Well, I would love to buy the vineyard. I would love to, take over the debt, buy the vineyard, and run the vineyard." So Benamino and his brother took over the vineyard, bought the vineyard in 1990, and have ran a successful vineyard ever since. This is one of our trips. This is in Apulia. This is in the mountains of Apulia. So if you go into Bari and you start heading past Arborabello, which is those neat little houses with the white houses, the cone-shaped roofs. If you go into where Apulia is typically more of a flat part of Italy, but there are mountain ranges, especially when you start heading over into Volturre, into Basilicata, into Matera. So as you head west from Bari, you're going to start hitting some of the foothills in the mountains. So these are some of the highest peaks or highest mountains in Apulia where this wine comes from. Really cool vineyard, great story. They're making amazing wines, and this is available by the glass here at the restaurant, the Primitivo, and it's one of our vineyard stops. If you're interested in going to Italy with us, VIPwineryvacations.com, everything is there. We can get your contract out right away, a digital contract, and we're we're a little under halfway sold out of that trip. As soon as the New Year's ends, people will be back on the planning their vacation mode right now with the holidays and Christmas. We've been very busy, so we have probably 14 seats left, 14-ish seats left for that trip. But again, those won't last long. VIPwineryvacations.com. And if you like wine, drop a comment of your favorite wine. If this was helpful, if my swirling lesson was helpful on how to swirl a glass of wine and how not to, please drop a comment and say yes. I learned something new. If you didn't know that, that's what we say when we're in Italy and we learn so much. We say, I learned something new. So there you go, folks. Have a great day, and we will talk to you later. Happy New Year, and we'll hopefully see you soon.